What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fish and Grits, the podcast. Today is November 19th, 2020. We are recording the day after the NBA draft, and we've seen a lot of stuff happen here, but we'll get to that here in a second. Current events-wise, your sitting president still has not conceded. He's still throwing a tantrum in office and saying he's been cheated, even though literally everyone has told him nothing happened. And in some cases, like Micah was saying pre-show, he screwed himself over by scaring his own voters off by telling them not to go and not do mail-in ballots. But all recounts in all the major races have finished. They all stand. And he's just looking more and more like an impotent child. The big thing that came from that was his head of cybersecurity came out and said, look, there was no fraud. There was no one that hacked the systems. There was nothing of that sort. I don't know what he's talking about. And then literally like an hour later, Trump fired him. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to him getting Jazzy Jeffed out of the White House or Perp walked out. Also, be on the lookout for a male in his early 30s. He's got dark hair, a beard. He goes by the name of Lionel.
Where's Lionel at? There's a Lionel sighting?
No, I'm saying be on the lookout. Bolo. He goes by the name of Lionel.
Up in the chat sometimes.
Or, I mean, as far as we know, that's him. It could be whoever kidnapped him. Like, you know what? Let me show face so they don't get too suspicious. But you know what? I'm on to you.
It's Jackson with his phone.
Jackson took his committed patricide, took Lionel out. Like, I'm the king of the house now.
Who knows what's going on? But he's in our prayers and wishes, whatever's going on, wherever he's at right now.
He's just now a special guest.
Right.
At this point, Lionel's a special guest for the Fish and Grits podcast.
We are thinking about you.
Cool. Let's go ahead and start this whole basketball thing off. And Marco, I'm gonna go ahead and bring your buddy in, and you can introduce him.
For sure.
For show.
Oh, for sure.
Yo, what is going on?
What's up, fellas?
Hold on, wait. Let me close my door.
Yeah, about to say I hear an echo there. Wait a second. Are you in the same house? Oh,
yeah, I'm new to the podcast game.
Oh no, I got beer all over my hands now.
Wow.
So hey, everybody. This is Ike here. You know, is a longtime friend of mine, probably one of my most respected basketball, the most respected basketball opinion in terms of he's an enthusiast. He's always on top of this draft. He always 6 months before. Say what again? What did you say?
I was just correcting myself. I spelled his name wrong.
Oh, okay. Like 6 months before, he was already on these videos, super deep in the draft, so. And I was like, wow, this dude is always on point. So I definitely wanted to bring him on and get his perspective on this topic. So let me go ahead and do the segment introduction. Welcome to the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. And as we all know, we're coming off, the NBA draft that just happened yesterday. It went pretty much as expected. It went number 1 was Georgia Boy. Number 2 was Wiseman to the grief-stricken Warriors, and number 3 was LaMelo of Ball in the Family.
I don't think you can say it went as expected. Maybe the top 3, but after that 4th pick, no one saw coming.
Yeah, I mean that's true. We'll get to that.
I'm a Chicago fan, so yeah, we'll definitely.
Oh, and I'm a Florida State fan, so this will work out.
Right. We can talk about that because there might be some, there's a lot of angst with that pick, but maybe Ryan can convince us that this guy is something special. So with that in mind, I want to sort of get into this discussion. The first thing I want to say is that congratulations to Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs have their first ever number one pick in history. You think Dominique would have been that, but he might have been like a number two or something like that. I forget when exactly he was picked, but why can't I think of his name right now? What's my man's name?
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is the number one pick in the draft.
Are you nervous?
He's going up there to the tundra to see what he can do for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that's cool. So thumbs up.
Dominique went third.
He went third. Okay. That's crazy. That must have been a stacked draft because
the 1982 draft.
Probably was just big, probably a big or two to win in front of him.
Right. Yeah, probably a big. Well, anyway, so I want to get into this.
James Worthy went number one that year.
Okay, James Worthy, fresh off a title. Okay, so I want to get into our opinions on just like what happened here, and so I'm gonna start with this. Out of the top 5 picks, I want to get y'all's opinions on these 3 things. First of all, who will have the biggest impact in their first season? Who will have the best career, and who will be the biggest buzz out of the first top 5? So let me go with Ike since he's our guest. Fire this thing off for us, Ike.
Okay, so the first question was who will have the biggest impact, was it?
Yeah, who would have the biggest impact in their first season out of the top 5?
Honestly, out of the top 5, I think it's going to be James Wiseman. Just as far as things that you can quantify that translatable skills he's going to come into the league with, rebounding and shot blocking, 2 things that are, important to winning. And then I think he's going to be a great vertical floor spacer. So definitely a lob threat. And he has a perimeter game. If you go back and look at his AAU tape, some of his high school tape, he's shooting threes, he's shooting fadeaways. He's taking the ball off the rim on defense and bringing it down to the other side, finishing with his right and his left. So the sky's the limit as far as his potential. I don't think it's going to be in year 1, but yeah, over time, I think it's going to be James Wiseman.
I want to piggyback off that because a lot of people forget that this previous college season, James Wiseman was the consensus number 1 overall pick. Like coming out of high school, everyone was like, this guy's a freak. He's your modern day big, but he also plays defense. And then, he played 6 games and then
3 games,
3 games and then had to leave and people forgot about him. And I think he's the benefactor, or the Warriors in this case are the benefactor of a lot of people not seeing him for the past 8 months.
Yeah, and let's just tell the fans, the reason he didn't play the whole season is because he took the bag. Penny Hardaway dropped the bag off on his doorstep, allegedly. Allegedly. So let's go ahead and we'll get answers from everyone for the first one. Micah, who do you think will have the biggest impact in their first season out that top 5?
Wiseman. I just think, especially with no Klay, I think they're gonna incorporate him more in that offense and allow him to really shine. And with Steph and Draymond, they both are gonna create opportunities for him to get some buckets.
Right.
I'm torn. I'm between the 2 point guards. Really, I'm going between Killian Hayes and Halliburton.
Wait. Top 5.
He said top.
Oh, top 5. Okay, so top 5, I think I'm going to go Edwards then, just because in that Minnesota offense, you need someone who is athletic and create their own shot, which they have not had. And Edwards has proven that he's not afraid to do that. And Edwards played in a system where he was doubled and tripled the whole time, and he was still putting up these numbers. And now he's going to have 2 other stars around him and, a plethora of NBA talent as well, to where they can't just key in on him. He's going to open up the floor for D'Angelo. He's going to take a lot of pressure off Cat. And so I think that's going to open up lanes for him. Because, Cat's a floor spacing big at this point in his career. He's not going to just sit down there and clog up the paint for him. And Edwards is a slasher. I mean, that's what he's best at. So he's going to have an open rim to attack, most of the time unless he's playing Utah. So I think Edwards has probably had the biggest impact right now.
Same. I'm sort of torn between those two, but I do think Anthony Edwards won't have as good stats as Wiseman might, because from what all y'all said, but Micah said that, he mentioned Klay being out, and I think that's a big reason why they will feature him. And then and maybe his stats might look better out of that top 5. LaMelo might fuck around and have the best stats though, honestly, because he has free reign out there to just run around and get some triple doubles.
That's gonna be fun to watch.
Terry Rozier gonna be trying to steal shots from him. No, I'm not passing you the ball.
They drafted LaMelo and Terry Rozier in the background, like, son of a bitch. This was my team.
You got something? Like, you look like you want to say something.
I feel like LaMelo, his stats are going to be crazy at first, and then when you dig deep and look at the field goal percentage, you're going to be like, because kind of runs in the family where the shot is shaky. I'm sure y'all seen the form. That's not going to translate. I'm going to go out there on a limb and say he's going to be a bad jump shooter. And Lonzo can't make a layup. I don't know if, Lonzo shoots a poor percentage from 2. I should say that. I don't know what LaMelo Ball's game is going to look like inside. I think that's going to be the real determinant of whether or not he's able to play in the NBA and score, because you can pass, but if you're not at least a threat to score in the paint and you have no jump shot, the fact that you can pass is irrelevant. And we all know he doesn't play defense. So it could be a comedy show. Like Marco said, it could be brilliant, Magic Johnson.
He's definitely a better scorer at the rim than Lonzo is, for sure, though.
He can make layups.
What's the over under on how many seasons until they're on the same team?
Oh, Lord. I say within LaMelo's rookie deal.
I would say 3.
I was gonna say 5.
Well, Lonzo's already been in the league, 3-4 years?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's before Lonzo gets too old and then, Melo's out of his prime.
Okay, so for this second one, I'm assuming, since we're still talking about the top 5, we can sort of extend this to top 10 if you want, but I'm assuming since that the answer who will have the best career sort of extends to, who will have the biggest impact in their first season. But does anyone sort of have a differing opinion out of these guys who will have the best career? Ryan, you can go ahead with first.
I'm going to rewind it to what I said at first, and it's between those 2 point guards, and I'm going to go Halliburton, just because he may not ever be like a 20, 25 point per game point guard, but he's going to be a solid point guard his entire career. He's not as good as Chris Paul was coming out of college. He wasn't that, oh my God, he has to be a top 3 pick type of point guard. But he plays similarly. He's very cerebral. He's very smart. He's just a solid point guard. So I think in terms of, I don't think any of these guys are going to be like knocking on the door of the Hall of Fame unless some of them break out. But I think you're going to see a lot of solid depth pieces, a lot of players that will stay in the league for a long time as like 3rd and 4th options, or maybe like 6th men. So I'm going to say Tyrese.
You're saying the 2020 draft is as bad as the year.
Yeah. I mean, Wiseman might. Wiseman has the best potential to be a Hall of Famer.
Okay. What you think on that?
Well, first, Ryan, I can see you're a Halliburton fan. I am too, Marco. So yesterday I was pissed when the Bulls passed on him. And then the Hawks too. I didn't understand that either. So I want to agree with you, but on this particular question, I'm gonna have to be a homer, and I'm gonna go with Patrick Williams. Only because, first of all, the defensive versatility, 6'8", with I believe a 7-foot wingspan, and he weighs 225 pounds, and he's still a teenager. I think he's gonna fill out a little bit more, and that's gonna, between that and his wingspan, you got a guy who can move his feet with guards and hold his own as far as defending bigs in the paint and rebounding with bigs in the paint. Um, he's definitely going to be a scorer in transition. He shot 32% from the three-point line in college on almost 2 attempts in only 22 minutes a game. And if you look at his form, it's solid. You know, I think he's going to play in this league for a long time. And, you know, as far as the talk about impacting winning goes and having a great career, yeah, I think he's in good shape there.
Yeah. Micah, what you think?
I'm thinking Anthony Edwards. I think his build, his game. Now, granted, I think it might take him a while to get his shot. Now, I mean, he's a good shooter, but to adjust to the farther 3-point line and stuff like that, it's probably going to take him a little while to adjust to that. So I'm thinking, but with his build and like his just absolute size and freak athleticism, I think he could potentially be like Joe Johnson, except hopefully have better IQ, because that was always my problem with Joe Johnson. His IQ was trash. But, you know, he really reminds me, because at times you kind of felt like, does Joe Johnson really want to play basketball? Like, he had the freak athleticism, the size and all that, but it was just kind of like sometimes he just seemed disinterested at times. And I guess that was the question a lot of scouts are asking about Anthony Edwards is, you know, how much how committed is he? So, I mean, I think he potentially could have the best career out of all of them.
Real quick, Diesel, did you hear the quote that he had when they asked him, you know, about basketball and if he loved the game?
Uh-huh.
He goes, "I'm not really that into it." Those were his exact words. He was talking about watching basketball. He quickly kind of backpedaled, like, you know, I don't really watch it, but as soon as I dunked as a kid, I knew I had something, so I wanted to work hard and see it through. I don't think that's a fact. I don't think there's too much to read into that. I just thought, you know, it was funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can get that, because I know a lot of athletes that don't like to watch the games they play.
Right.
But I mean, they still just doesn't take away from their abilities. So.
Right. No, you're right.
And so I think, for me, I think I'm torn between like Halliburton. I think he will have a really solid career. And maybe Obi Toppin, man. Like, he's going to go up there and be able to put up big numbers in New York, man. What's that face, Mike?
Man, they drafted Julius Randle 2.0. They paid all that money for Julius Randle, and they drafted an exact replica of Julius Randle. And it's like, so you're going to play Obi Toppin over this guy you're paying like a max deal for.
Hey, Obi Toppin's a lot more athletic than Julius Randle's ever dreamed of being. He's more like John Collins with a more polished offensive game at the cannon.
But it's almost same size, similar mid-range shooter, you know, athletic. Now, granted, Obi Toppin might be more athletic, but still, it's very similar skill set. And it's like you drafted the same guy, and you're already deep at big with, like, you got
that energy.
You got 16 power forwards on that roster, Mike.
Exactly.
Let's get, since you got that energy right now, Micah, go ahead and give me your biggest bust of the lottery.
Oh, of the lottery?
Yeah. So we sort of extended that last question to the whole lottery. So let's keep it on there.
All right. I was gonna say Obi Toppin, but I don't think he'll be a bust. But I think it was the worst pick as far as just bust in the draft. It could potentially be LaMelo. I think I like Melo's passing ability, his point guard skills, his skill set as a point guard, but you know, I think that shot is going to be a problem. It's same thing with Lonzo. You know, and I was talking to a friend of mine about it, and I said it's basically LeVar Ball did his kids a disservice because he forced them to play up, which usually makes your kids tougher, but he didn't force them to play up and follow fundamental basketball. You know, he just let them do whatever they needed to do to get their shots off, which it's like, yo, the form is terrible. So when things change, you know, your muscle memory is already off. So when you add, you know, 3-4 feet to the 3-point line, it's like your muscle memory, you got to relearn that ugly shot for even farther now. Like,
well, he was pulling up from half court.
but I mean, even still, and he's terrible shot selection. He's immature. You know, it's just it's a lot of things that could potentially lead to just absolute devastating like bust of a career.
All right, Ryan, biggest bust.
I'm gonna go Okoro, just because he has no jumper right now. He's all defense and athleticism. And a lot of that's that player every year that someone in the lottery goes, man, he's really athletic. And I just, you know, Bruce Pearl is a really good college coach, but who is he produced at the next level? I mean, can you really name one that's come out of college that he's
In Tennessee?
I'm sure it's one Tennessee guy who's like a sixth man and been successful. I don't know though. Not off the top of my head.
This NBA, or can we do Maccabi Tel Aviv and some of these other leagues?
Nah, you can't take it all the way back to there. I'm talking about guys here in the States. So I mean, yeah, Okoro. It's just like until he proves he can shoot, he's not a threat. He's going to be kind of like I can't think of his name.
Andre Roberson?
No, I'm taking this way back. Back in the day. Well, yeah, Roberson's not a bad one, but
Drummond,
Gerald Henderson. No, not from Duke. The guy from Alabama that was a big dunker.
Gerald Wallace.
Gerald Wallace. Yeah, that's who he reminds me of.
Yeah, Gerald Wallace. Yeah, I don't know why he never developed the shot. He was so athletic.
Because that's all he was. He was athletic, and he was like, I can just do this.
It's a lot of guys like that.
Darius Miles,
yeah, like that Clippers team. You had Candyman, Oliver Candy. A lot of them they were freak athletes, but like huge holes in their game.
All right, biggest bust.
Man, so honestly, I think you boys took the two best answers there.
You can double up.
Because so LaMelo Ball is my strong favorite because, one, Michael Jordan cannot assess talent. He has proven that. The data supports that. This is the man who picked Kwame Brown. This is the man who picked Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Good defensive.
That's about all he is.
And then you look at the data as far as the Ball family, like what you were saying. But I don't want to piggyback on y'all because there's a lot of guys who I think are going to be busting here. So I think for me, I'm gonna have to go with Denny Avila. And the reason I say that is everyone says he's going to be really good if he figures out the shooting. This man shot 50% from the free throw line last year. And he was playing professional basketball, but 50% from the free throw line. And then, 20-something% from the three-point line. When I look at his jump shot, I wonder how, because it's beautiful, it's pure. But if I had to pick to let someone shoot for my life from, the three-point line, I'm taking anyone else on that top 10 to get that shot off. Honestly, even Isaac Okoro at this point, because he looks more mentally tough to me than Denny Avila. So if your whole game hinges on this one thing that you've proven that you can't do, I feel like the writing's kind of on the wall there because he's not a defender. He's not a great enough passer to keep him out there just for that. And I don't think he's going to outboard anybody in the NBA. So, yeah. How do you shoot 50% from the free throw line and go top 10? I'm not sure. It happens.
Potential. In 2020, the Louise. I do want to, what you said was funny about Michael Kidd Gilchrist. I heard the story about Michael Jordan brought him he drafted him, then he brought him to the facility and then proceeded to destroy him in a game of one-on-one. Like, what?
He did the same thing to Kwame Brown.
Why would you pick that man and destroy his confidence before he even starts?
You heard about the story with Kwame Brown, right?
No, what was that one?
he invited they were playing. He spotted Kwame Brown 10 points in the game to 11 and beat him 11-10.
Oh my God.
And Kwame Brown was never the same after that.
Oh my God.
You know he's in the car, right?
Oh man.
I mean, I agree. I think Okoro, probably just because of his size and his position in today's NBA, you can't be a 6'6", small forward shooting guard and not be able to shoot. That's really tough. So I'll probably go with him, but everybody else made some really good points. I mean, LaMelo, he has the biggest bust potential just because his ceiling is so, they've hyped him up so much, just like how Lonzo, Lonzo pretty much is a bust, but people have sort of stopped talking about that just because he's still I don't know what happened. I don't know why people stopped sort of realizing how much.
I'm still hating on him.
The hate continues.
I think people stopped hating on him because they kind of feel sorry for him because the VAR is so overbearing, and it's just like, bro, you put so much pressure on this kid, and it's just he's just kind of like, oh.
Then LeBron shitted on him, so people are like, oh,
right.
Bronny didn't even.
He's better than Steph Curry. He's better.
Right. That's what they're saying.
He's better than LeBron.
Better than Michael Jordan.
As we move on. So as we talk about our personal teams right here and how they sort of did in the draft, the Hawks, we selected my man, how do you say my man's name? Onyeka Okongwu. And then we selected
Skylar Mays.
Skylar Mays.
The point guard that they compared him Deladova. So and then for Ike in Chicago, what was their second pick? They got Patrick Williams, and then who else? Did they get anyone else?
I don't know if we got someone. Let me look real quick, because I didn't watch the second round because
y'all didn't have it.
Nobody ever really does.
Oh wait, no, y'all picked Marco
Simovic, somebody to leave in Europe and save money.
Right.
Basically.
Okay, so let's start with Ryan here. And Ryan, how do you feel about what the Hawks did for the team?
It's not a sexy draft, but it's a good draft. It's one of those like, hey guys, I know we're not going to get like a Trae Young this year. We're not going to trade up and mortgage our future or mortgage half of our bench for these guys, but we're going to address areas that we're weak in because both of these players are very smart defenders. Okoro is a excellent rim protector. He's got really good lateral quickness to guard the pick and roll. He can guard pretty much 1 through 5 on the perimeter. Like he's not going to lock a guard down, but he's not going to get out there and look like John Collins getting blown by. And when we play small lineups, we can throw him in at center and stop putting John Collins at the 5, where he was rated the worst defending big in the league the last 2 years. So it allows us to shift players out of their weak spots, and it gives us someone to like Mays to me is a developmental piece, and he can maybe come in there and give another ball handler, but Cam is really going to be our secondary point guard as it is, just because he's got much better vision than Mays will ever have. But I like it mainly because of Okongwu, and it's a good, like, Mays could be really good in the future as like a 10 point per game, come off the bench, play 15, 20 minutes a game type of guy.
Arc plug.
But they're all going to play good defense. So,
Micah, your take on the Hawks and their picks?
I mean, it was all right. I would have, of course, we talked about this. I would have loved to have Anthony Edwards stay at home, but we knew that wasn't possible once we pulled that number 6 pick. So Okongwu, even though, like I said, we were talking about it before, I said he's like John Collins with defensive John Collins with the offensive skill set, which, I mean, is fine. My thing is, I wonder how we're going to rotate him in, considering we have Clint Capella now. What our big rotation is going to be. Are they going to when Clint's not in, are they going to use Onyeka at the 5 and Collins at the 4?
They've already alluded to that
Okay.
he's essentially going to be spelling Capella only.
Okay, cool. All right, that works.
You're never going to see those two on the court at the same time because it's just Okay, that works. But I mean, I like the pick though. Defending the rim is something that we absolutely need, especially because Trae Young plays Olay defense. So we need rim defense and rebounding. That's because that's another area we get killed a lot in. As far as Skylar Mays, I mean, I think like Ryan said, he's a developmental piece. He could potentially he's a spot up shooter. He's not one to create his own shot, but if you can create shots for him, he can knock down shots. Good, smart defender. He's just undersized to be a 2, and but like you said, he's not really. He can guard the point, but he's not going to be playing point guard offensively. So, he's a decent pick. So I'm not upset about that.
And you can comment on the Hawks if you want, but how do you feel about Chicago and what their intention of with that pick, and how you feeling about it?
Sure. And I'll comment on the Hawks. I actually love the Hawks. I'm a Hawks fan. I'm from Chicago, but I've lived in Atlanta for 15 or 16 years. So that's the team in Atlanta that I really get behind. And like Ryan, I was kind of hoping they were going to go with Halliburton, but I do like the Okongwu fit, only because Bam Adebayo really showed me something in the playoffs this year. And if you look at their profile, their physical profile, and even their characteristics as far as what they're good at on the court versus what they're bad at on the court, I think he's a really good approximation to Bam, and not very far off. If you go back and look at some of his high school tape and college tape, you see a decent 15-foot jump shot. You see a little bit of a floor game, not that much yet. I think dribbling is going to be the thing that needs to come along. But I'm excited about what he can do defensively. I'm excited about what he can do as a finisher and a vertical floor spacer. And, honestly, I think he has a good chance of taking Capella's spot and becoming the starter, because I think Bam's proven you can be a 6'9", 6'10" center. It's really about when teams call that pick and roll, can you stay in front of their guards and can you neutralize them and make that less effective and then protect the rim, 2 things he's really good at. So I would trade, size and go from a 6'7" center to a 6'9", 6'10" center if I know I'm going to take something away from the other team's pick and roll and I'm still going to be able to protect the rim. So I think the Hawks, and Hawks fans should feel hopeful about Onyeka Okongwu. And then I'm going to tell you guys the truth on Skylar Mays. I have no idea who he is. And that's saying a lot because I do my research. So, I mean, I hope he has a great career as well. But as soon as you said his name, I was like, Maccabi Tel Aviv. That guard, they're pretty stacked on the wing and at the guard position in Atlanta. It's going to be really tough to crack that rotation for him. So switching gears to Chicago, this year I promised myself no matter what happened, I wasn't going to overreact because I have done that in the past. And I didn't get the guy that I wanted, and I'm pretty sure most people from Chicago didn't necessarily get that either. But Arturas Karstanovas, or I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, he has a really great track record and an eye for talent. He helped build the Denver Nuggets. He's found guys like Jamal Murray, Bol Bol, Nikola Jokic. These are guys that, and I have no idea how we spotted that talent as far as Jokic goes because, I would have missed it for sure. So he has a track record of having an eye for talent, and Billy Donovan is a great coach, and all he's ever done is win. And Patrick Williams does have potential, so I'm just going to trust the vision. But right now I'm, more hopeful than sure.
Y'all actually have the perfect combinations of forwards to stash him behind and learn from. He can learn the Euro game from Markkanen, And he's already essentially Thaddeus Young Jr. in my eyes. That's exactly how I view him. And that's how he played at Florida State. And so he can develop that part of his game and strengthen it with Thaddeus Young, who's, in my opinion, one of the more underrated pieces in the NBA because he does everything. He's a great, like, Thaddeus Young is going to be one of those players that probably this season or next, depending on how you guys do, is going to become a valuable trade asset for teams that are looking for a guy that can fill these roles. Like the Lakers may need him, or, you know, a team that's going on a run. It's like, okay, we need a 3-and-D guy who boards, who plays defense, who can shoot. It's just smart with the ball. So he can do that. And then, you know, it may just push Markkanen more down to the 3 spot too, as well, if Patrick develops well. So I think it's a great combination there. It's just, what are y'all going to do with Wendell Carter is my question.
I've heard rumors about trading him to the Warriors, actually, and I know they have a little bit of interest in him. So we'll see.
Well, now they got Wiseman.
That's true. And I heard that before draft night. I think he's going to stay. I kind of want to see what we have this year. Wendell hasn't been able to stay on the floor. Kobe White's finally starting, so I kind of want to see what we have this year. Hopefully, it's decent.
All right. Yeah. So my take on the draft is sort of that. I like the picks because they address needs, and that's always a good thing to me. But what really worries me about Okongwu is his stress fractures. For big men, that's always like a terrible, terrible injury. And I didn't know about that until the day after the draft that he, you know, but I was listening to Schlenk, and he was pretty much saying that it's nothing to worry about. So like I said, I trust Schlenk. I trust what he decides. And on Skylar, honestly, like I said this yesterday, I think that in this draft, since it's so like not, you know, deep or good, that anyone from 1 to 60 could potentially make a big impact. You know what I mean? So I think that Skylar, even him getting taken at 51 doesn't necessarily mean that he wasn't a 31 talent. You know what I mean? It's just that there's so many average people in this draft. And I like his size. You know, 6'4" guard who went to college for 4 years, you know, so he's going to make, you know, he seems to make good decisions. He might not be like a great natural passer. You know, he might be more of a natural 2, but at the same time, you know, he's a competent ball handler. And I think, you know, a little time in the G League, and he'll probably be, I think he might crack the roster because last year we had, what was that guy's name? Goodwin, our 2-way player who they eventually signed, you know, and he wasn't that great, you know. So, he wasn't terrible. Don't get me wrong.
We had a couple. Okay. Yeah. We had a couple G League guys that cracked the lineup towards the end of the season.
Right. You know, and I heard Teague's going to be gone. And, you know, so we need point guard depth. And I don't know if Rondo's going to come, but even if
DeAndre Bembry.
No.
Bruh, speaking of shooting 50% from the free throw line.
Right. Chew in his mouthpiece and then brick it.
Only shooters get to do that. Put that back in your mouth.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
God.
So yeah. So as we move on, and just for the people listening, the Hawks went ahead and traded Deadman away for 2 expiring contracts, one of which is Tony Snell, which he's trash. But who was the other guy?
It was Snell and
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But, who cares?
Expiring
contract.
So just real quick, guys, outside the top 10 let's say outside the lottery, give me a name who you think will make a big impact in the league. I know this is tough. This is a real weak draft, but I know this is tough. And there's only really one name that comes to my mind, but let's see what y'all can muster up. Ike, go ahead first.
I'm going with Tyrell Terry. And I think he was the guy who slipped in this draft. You know, I have an affinity for guards and wings, but he's definitely, you know, arguably the best shooter in this draft. There's maybe only one other guy. Whoever Boston took, I'm blanking on his, Aaron Naismith. Naismith's
really good. He can shoot the fucking lights out.
52% from three-point line, something crazy like that. But if you go back and look at Tyrell Terry's tapes, you can't tell me you don't see a lot of Trae Young and Steph Curry and what he can do on the offensive end. And if there's one thing we know always translates, it's size and shooting. I've never seen someone be an amazing shooter and just get to the NBA and not be able to shoot all of a sudden outside of Markelle Fultz. And so, yeah, I think Tyrell Terry, not only did he slipped to the best team possible, because Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic are definitely going to pull that defense in, and he's not the kind of person that you can give any space to. So he's going to have a lot of layups from the three-point line early in his career. They just traded Seth Curry away. So, you know, the path is kind of clear for him to come in and make a splash on day one.
Brian?
Ike alluded to mine. It's Naismith. You didn't get to see him last year, and a lot of people forgot about him and how good he is. That man is a baller. And if you give him this much space to shoot, he's going to wet it most of the time. And a lot of people just, you know, like most Vanderbilt products and basketball, people are like, you know, whatever. But they put out good products. Them and Purdue they put out a lot of good people that people forget about. Mm-hmm. And I think Naismith, especially going to Boston, man, like you could not ask for a better situation for someone who can shoot to go to. Mm-hmm. And Boston needed two things. They needed rim protectors and shooters. They got one of them. So
unfortunately, they did not get the other, which was probably their biggest gaping hole. Anyway, Micah, who do you think is outside?
I'm gonna say Josh Green. I think with his athleticism.
Some Dallas love here today.
Well, I mean, but just because of where he was drafted, it has everything to do with, you know, playing with Luka and stuff like that. So I think because of that, if they keep them together for a while, they could, they could be something really nice for the future. So,
and I'm gonna go with Cole Anthony. Like, he has the NBA pedigree. Like
Mike Lee,
right? I know he every time I see him, he's like whining about something though, so that worries me a little bit. But like, I have faith that he's gonna go into Orlando and immediately make a huge impact. And then that leads into my next question. Rookie of the year. Who y'all think is gonna win the Rookie of the year? I'm gonna go ahead and say mine. I'm picking Cole Anthony. Michael, who you got Rookie of
the year? That's tough. I'm gonna say Wiseman. I just because I think they're gonna have him. They're gonna use him so much in Golden State. I think he'll wind up, and I think Golden State will potentially be a playoff team versus Orlando, who might not be. So I think that'll help them.
It's pretty close for me, but I think in order to win Rookie of the Year, you got to be in a situation where they're going to be putting the ball in your hands and depending on you a lot. So it's a toss-up to me between Killian Hayes and Cole Anthony. But I think I got to lean towards Marco and go with Cole Anthony. When I look at his game, I see a lot of Dame. And the Orlando Magic haven't had a backcourt in years. Right now, the only person he really has to beat out for a starting spot is Markelle Fultz and DJ Augustine. These are guys I would beat out right now. And so if he can't do that, you know, he's not going to make it in the league. And so, yeah, I got to go with Cole Anthony. And he has a chip on his shoulder because he definitely slipped. So everything is there as far as a perfect storm for a surprise Rookie of the Year.
Right. He went from like one of the best players in the nation to a number 14.
15th. Yeah.
Yeah, the 15th pick. I mean, outside the lottery. And I do think he's a mix between like Dame and Jamal Murray. That's what I see. Ryan, go ahead with your.
You're just a homer, Marco. Shut up. I think similarly. I was going between Cole Anthony Killian Hayes and LaMelo. You need players with the ball in their hand a lot. And I mean, Detroit needs a point guard so bad, and they finally got one. So I'm gonna go Killian. I think he wins it. I don't think any of these guys are gonna put up outstanding Rookie of the Year numbers, but he's gonna be the most productive.
Just a little side bet. I know Ike was saying yesterday that LaMelo's gonna average a triple double. Who? What's the over under?
Can I take you on that bet right now?
I wasn't putting any money down on that.
I'm not confident in it.
100. Let's go right now.
If I can do turnovers count, I need to cover myself for both ways.
How many times he gets yelled at by Michael Jordan and his dad in the same game?
Right.
Bad shot selection.
If we can count bad shots and turnovers, I'm taking it, and I'll put the house on it.
All right. So with the positivity that the NBA draft always brings, you know, it was a very high note. But unfortunately, just hours before the draft, the worst possible news for a real NBA fan, for any real NBA fan, struck the world as Klay Thompson was apparently in an intensive workout. And first it started with just like he blew out his knee or he blew out his leg. It was a leg injury. And then slowly the details came out and it was revealed that he tore his Achilles tendon. And that is tough. You know, everybody, I know Ike said Steph and Draymond dropped whatever they were doing and jumped on planes to go be with him in Cali. And I got to give it up to them. So I want to sort of talk about, you know, what are the implications for this Warriors team going forward? I know they just picked up Wiseman and that's huge, but are they still a playoff team in this tough West? Ryan, what do you think about that?
I think any team with the first consensus MVP, you know, in ever has to be a playoff team because a lot of people are forgetting how good Steph actually is. And I mean, it happened for an injury to happen and had it happen at a perfect time. It happened before free agency. So they're going to be active in the free agency market. I don't think they have a ton of money, but they can still make some moves for it. And they still have Wiggins. You know, he's not great. He's definitely not Klay. And they added Oubre, who I'm a huge fan of, especially with his growth this last year.
Well, they added Oubre. I thought Oubre was in OKC.
Unless they traded him. Was he part of that deal? I mean, there's been a lot of moving pieces, but I'm pretty sure Oubre
went to OKC.
Did he?
Hold it, I'm double checking right now.
Kelly Oubre, Golden State Warriors near to trade. Yeah, he's going in there. That's what I thought I heard.
Let's see. The series.
So there's their fill for Klay right there.
It's not a good fill for Klay, but it's something.
I mean, you're gonna have to fill Klay's shoes by quantity,
defense, yeah, and energy.
And Oubre fits perfectly on that team right now. So I mean, you're looking at Steph, Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond, and Wiseman. Not a bad team. They'll probably be an 8th seed, maybe a 7th. So,
what do you think?
Yeah, they'll be a playoff team.
Ike, what do you think?
Yeah. So I was looking at the Western Conference, who made it in, who didn't last year, just kind of feel for who's going to drop out. The Rockets were 4th, and the OKC Thunder were 5th. I think both of them are going to struggle this year. So in my mind, that creates 2 spots. And to compete for those spots, we got Memphis, Portland, Phoenix, and New Orleans. So and Minnesota. And so the question I got to ask myself is, can Steph and Draymond with, these role players take those guys? And I think the answer is yes. It's definitely going to be, they're not contenders anymore. Not by just adding Oubre, but have they given themselves a chance to be back in the playoff with that addition? Definitely. If they were just going to move on without Klay, I'd say that's over. There's no playoffs in the future.
Micah?
I think they can potentially be a playoff team, but it's going to be at the bottom of the Western Conference. I think they're still one of the best coached teams. You still got Steph. I mean, Wiggins is still a guy who can put up 15 to 20 on a given night. Oubre can score. Draymond's still a good defender and a good ball handler, secondary ball handler, especially can create and help put Steph in positions where he can catch and shoot as opposed to have to create his own shot all the time. I think Wiseman, like I said, Wiseman will be a good addition. I think that between their experience and coaching, it's going to give them an advantage over some of these other fringe teams, like maybe like a Suns or like Houston with Van Gundy and all the changes they had on their rosters. So I think they could still be now title contention is out the window, but you can still potentially make the playoffs as 7th, 8th seed or something like that in the West.
Yeah, and I agree. Definitely out of title contention, which is sad for me. But I do think that, especially considering that this year is a 10 playoff, it's a 10 team system and there's a playoff thing implemented. So I definitely think they'll be one of the 10 best teams in the West. So yeah, especially adding Oubre. I didn't know about that before, so I was a little more bleak before I heard that. But yeah, I think adding that, competitive streak to their team not only helps this year, but for the next year when they get Giannis, it's going to help. So yeah, I do think they'll be in there.
Hold on. Let me ask you, everybody, What do y'all think Wiseman averages points and rebounds?
I say 14 and 10.
Ike?
16, 8, 1.6 blocks a game, just over 1.5 blocks a game.
Micah?
Yeah, I say about 15, 16 points, about 10 rebounds a game.
So y'all are thinking about DeAndre Ayton rookie year numbers?
Something like that.
So like if you think about it that way, you've got a 16 and 10 at center. You've got 8, 8 and 6 at power forward. And if Oubre continues to develop, he's about 20 points a game. Wiggins is 20 points a game. And then you got Steph, who's probably going to be back up in the 30 points per game range. That's a playoff team for sure. Yeah. And they might even be better than the 8 seed now that I really look at them. Right. And all of their depth has a year of playing, like really playing in the NBA now. So
that's true, though. I think there's a lot of recency bias in terms of like people just counting them out, but we forget that they created this motion offense that swept the NBA. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or they didn't create it, but Steph innovated the game like no one else, and then he took a year off, so everybody sort of forgot. But speaking of some of these moves that the Warriors made, there's actually a lot of free agencies and trades. Free agency starts tomorrow, I think it starts tomorrow at 9 or something. And there's been a lot of moves. So I want to sort of get y'all's opinion on what team has sort of made the best move. Things have happened like Chris Paul to the Suns. I did want to add with the last one. I do think that like Phoenix, for instance, I think one of the reasons Golden State will make the playoffs is because this is too much pressure for Chris Paul, and he's gonna blow his hamstring halfway through the season.
Why does he carry his stress in his hamstrings?
That's where his tension's at, I guess. I don't know why that always happens to him, but I feel like that's a door Phoenix might not make it. But anyway, so Chris Paul went to the Suns, Schroeder to the Lakers, Drew Holiday, Bogdanovich to the Bucks, Dallas.
Isn't on the Bucks.
Say what?
The trade there, the Bogdanovich trade was ruled illegal or something. He didn't agree to it. He's not. Yeah, I just found out today. So he's not on the Bucks.
So he's still with the Kings?
At this time, from what I understand, yeah, he's still with the Kings. All they got was Drew Holiday.
Oh, he's going to be a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to have to shell out the money. Okay, so that a little less faith in the Bucks as usual.
I don't want to go to Milwaukee.
Right.
Dallas swapped Seth for Danny. So, which team so far? Which team so far has impressed you the most with their moves and have placed themselves in a better position? For instance, the Lakers maybe repeating, the Bucks becoming a title contender, or the Phoenix simply making the playoffs. Ike, lead us off.
So I'll say, the biggest acquisition for me, it's pretty close. It's between Chris Paul to the Suns and Drew Holiday to the Bucks. Drew and Eric are both top tier defenders. Eric is limited offensively in ways that Drew Holiday just isn't. Drew isn't the most assertive guy, but if he needs to go get a bucket, he can definitely get one. And he's a little bit bigger than Eric Bledsoe, so he's able to do a little more defensively as far as switching on to bigger guys. Do I think it's enough? Adding him is enough to push them over the top? No, because the East is tougher now. KD is apparently all the way back. The Heat are still there and still know his weaknesses. And, the Boston Celtics are hanging. And who knows what is going to happen to the Sixers. So, but I think Chris Paul to the Suns probably was the most impactful trade so far. They needed a vet. They needed a point guard. And I think we saw them go, 9-0 in the bubble at the end of last year. They did that all off the strength of Devin Booker. Meanwhile, Chris Paul took a Thunder team where, most people can't tell you who the other starters on it were outside of Shai Gilgeous, and got him to the 5th seed. So, yeah, I think, as far as what team is going to take the biggest leap based off a trade, it's got to be the Suns.
So you got the Suns firmly in the playoffs.
They're going, yeah. If Chris Paul's hamstrings can make it to the playoffs, then the Suns, they're going to go as far as Chris Paul's hamstrings will let them. Put it that way.
Or when
I saw you laughing during that response, so you go ahead.
Well, you know we had the argument in the chat about Chris Paul and his clutchness or lack thereof. He lives for the big moments and automatically turns the ball over when. But personally, I think Drew to Milwaukee personally is my favorite. I think New Orleans made a big mistake because Drew is, like, people sleep on Drew Holiday. Drew is a beast.
Drew's a bucket.
He can play defense, he can score, and I think that's the kind of player that they need in Milwaukee, is somebody who, Giannis can score at will because he's, freak of nature. But outside of Giannis, Chris Middleton, sometimey, you need a guy who can go out and get you 20, 25 a night and be consistent about it and be efficient with putting up points. And that's what they've lacked. I think, especially in the playoffs, that's one of the things that's kind of held them back is, when Giannis struggles, they're very, like, they struggle to find another guy who can take some pressure off of him and put some points on the board. Like I said, I'm the more Chris Paul plays, the less and less I like Chris Paul. Schroeder to the Lakers, to me, makes them take a step back because he's such less basketball IQ than Rondo. So, I mean, I don't know. It's to me, it's just Drew Holiday.
Ryan?
I'm going to negate Micah and say, because I don't want to jump on the Drew bandwagon, even though it's obviously the best move of free agency thus far, even though it's not a free agent move. I'm going to say Schroeder to the Lakers is a huge move because he gives them another ISO player, and they got rid of Danny Green's bum ass.
Y'all don't like Danny Green?
I mean, I like Danny Green when he's not playing with LeBron. Danny Green folded in under the weight that is LeBron's presence.
He always does that, though.
And I mean, you saw it in the playoffs and actually going down the stretch. Well, the whole season, really. He was not the shooter that he has been.
Has he been a shooter?
Oh, hell yeah. He's been a clutch shooter.
I feel like he's the kind of dude who, at the end of the season, he shoots an amazing percentage from three, but there'll be like one game where he makes 7 threes, and then another game he goes 0 for 8. But it'll be like a pivotal game 3 of a playoff series. And then, you know, 1 3 in game 4, and then 8 threes in game 5, and then he goes 0 for in game 6, and they lose at 4.
He's a 40% career 3-point shooter, and last year with the Raptors, a 45%. So dude can shoot.
Kick out in game 5 when he went Klay.
I mean, he's the best guy in the NBA. He's the modern day Bruce Bowen.
Right.
Sit in the corner.
Yeah.
So
play defense and sit in the corner.
Yeah, that's it.
Not gonna hit the side of the backboard like Paul.
But he walks like an old timey cowboy that was drawn by a 6-year-old.
Hey, Zion walks like that too.
Yeah, but Zion's legs don't look like this.
Right.
It looks like he grew up riding horses his whole damn life.
Danny Green hate.
I definitely don't like Schroeder though. The Schroeder move, but
right.
What are the Lakers going to do without their shooters?
Huh?
What are the Lakers going to do without their shooters?
What are they going to do with it? They'll probably get some. They'll probably pick up a guy.
They really have shooters, and they won the championship.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean,
in my mind, I
like
call
Rondo
and Danny Green shooters, but I shouldn't.
Rondo was clutch in the playoffs for him. I mean, I never knew Rondo could shoot, but this playoff, it was like every time he got the ball and was open, it went in. It was just like, God, wait.
Every NBA player should be able to shoot when the gym's empty. I'm gonna just say that.
Everyone should be able to.
That ain't true. That's not true. Dwight Howard cannot shoot.
He hit a 3. Dwight Howard made me money because he almost lost me money because he hit a 3 at the end of the game, and then that one dude Solomon came down and hit another 3. It's like 2 dudes who had no business shooting 3. Closed out.
Andre Drummond cannot shoot with gym empty, gym full. Doesn't matter.
I don't know about that. Watch his workout tapes. He can shoot 3s.
And what's his name?
DeAndre Jordan no.
Yeah, he switched hand shooting because he struggled to shoot so much. Let me try to shoot with my left hand because my right hand is so bad.
When you can't tell which hand is your dominant hand because they're both so weak, that's definitely a red flag.
Harrell is the kind of player, he doesn't even have a form. He doesn't even have a shooting form. But I agree most with Ryan. I think that it was really actually surprising that the Lakers even really they only had LeBron and AD, like, honestly, and Caldwell Pope showed up out of nowhere. So now they actually have a legitimate, 20 point per game point guard, you know what I mean? And he doesn't make as good decisions as Rondo, but at the same time, he's going to be healthy the whole season. So that's a plus. And he's good at defense. His comparable was Rondo. I mean, minus, he makes up for the incredible playmaking with better scoring ability. So
right.
I think that was Schroeder. A pretty good pickup for them.
Schroeder?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why you hate Schroeder so much? Like, he was clutch as hell too.
It goes back to watching him in Atlanta and the terrible shot selection and the throwing the ball into nothingness, like the jump passes. It's like, dude, why do you put yourself in this position all the time?
For the love of God, Dennis Schroeder. That was
like, Schroeder in Atlanta was surrounded by nothing.
The worst play at the end of a game in basketball history. That wasn't Schroeder, was it?
No.
The Hawks game we were at with the worst play in the final seconds of a basketball game in NBA.
That was
history.
T, wasn't it?
Someone on the Hawks had the ball with no time left on the clock. Says, I got this.
Bazemore. That was Bazemore.
Oh, yeah.
Calls for clear out. Everybody clear out. 3 seconds left on the clock. One hard dribble right off his foot, rolls it out of bounds. The other team inbound.
Oh, I remember that.
That's the funniest thing I've ever seen about him.
I don't know. Lou Dort.
Like Schroeder was doing that stuff.
Right.
Lou Dort he's knocking on that door for worst play I've ever seen in basketball. Because that play at the end of that game against the Rockets, like, you get your shot block. If you pump fake, You pump fake, you had time to shoot. You get the shot block, you get it back. Instead of trying to shoot again, you try to throw it off his legs. Like, what are you
He
doing?
wasn't even facing the right way.
Exactly.
It was a
He's
mental
behind
choke.
you.
It was a
He's
mental
behind
choke stop.
you.
It
And
was
you turn around to throw it off of him.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. So, and then lastly, for my favorite thing that we do every week, we're gonna look at some of these jerseys. So, Ryan, if you give me permission to share my screen.
Okay.
And Chicago has one that's pretty nice. So.
Okay. I'm glad the Hawks are getting away from the highlighter green stuff.
Oh yeah.
You mean that color?
Volt green.
I
He
can't see
painted his wall with that.
Oh God, I didn't know.
They used to have those jogging looking uniforms. Okay, here we go. All right, so we've seen some of these already, but this is a comprehensive. Okay, look at that though.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
There's the Hawks one, obviously we've seen that. MLK.
I like those.
In the Nets.
I don't like those.
Cotton candy
pot.
We've seen these ones. Okay, this is a new one.
I like that.
Yeah, like that. That's pretty.
They should switch to that.
Yeah, like permanently, right?
That's fucking sick.
The teal and purple.
Ooh, that's a nice court.
That was Class C. LaMelo. They about.
So he can airball some threes on that.
For real.
Pull up from the B.
Hear the bricks.
Pull up from the logo. Airball.
From the B and the Z. Pull up from that B for ball. Okay, then here's the Chicago one again. They zoomed in a little bit. I like that font.
I like the gold. The gold accent. It's classy.
Let's see.
No little plans.
What the hell does that mean?
We got big plans, bro. We're getting the 7th seed.
I dig that, man. All right. No, there's your boy Kobe. Chilling.
Looking like a thirst trap.
I need 26 a game from you.
26.
Woo.
That's all right. That's not. I've seen worse. It's okay.
I feel like them and the Jazz be like, why do they borrow from each other so much? What the hell is this jersey? Like, what is this?
I know, right?
Like, what the hell? We see
that kind of goes hard.
Yeah. The funny thing about the Warriors is that they're not in Oakland anymore, and Oakland's actually suing them now.
For dipping out.
Yeah, for dipping, and then it's like they've been cursed ever since they left Oakland. So.
Yeah, that whole situation was fucked up anyway.
But look at them guns. Steph Curry came back ready, man. He's ready to have an MVP season. They literally just brought back the old jersey.
Those
Jaren Jackson
kind of sucked to begin with. So.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Well, why would they do that? This in the New Orleans one. I mean, it looks like a tea party or something.
Hey, anything with the fleur de lis is ugly to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks very like Southern gentlemanly. I don't know. I don't mess with it.
We're patriotic.
We were French. This is the OKC one. That's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's okay.
Loves. They got love. They got a love symbol on there.
Yeah, that's their sponsor. I mean, that's cool. That's too bad no one's gonna be on their team. Orlando again with their your whole promo. Oh no, turn up. They're trying too hard. This one's cool, man. I like that Phoenix jersey. Okay, so yeah, the Valley one that was and we saw.
Hold on, wait, come back up.
Huh?
No, that's tough.
You fuck with that? You putting X's on?
What are you doing? What's going on? You don't like that?
I thought that was cool. The funny part is that they had like Kelly Oubre doing a commercial where he got out out of car. He with the cowboy boots on, and they traded his ass. It was like he was modeling Chris Paul's jersey. Right. We already saw this one. No one really liked the Philly one. No one liked the Oregon.
Oh, sorry.
Did you just throw up?
Yeah, that is the worst jersey.
That's not right.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that.
Yeah, like let's just put all the colors together.
Right. A bunch of colors that have nothing to do with
All
it.
these teams are like mountains. That's what basketball relates to is mountains.
Let's add the
Exactly.
rainbow to our jersey.
They obviously made theirs really dark so no one can see it because it sucks. I guess they have a new logo. Is this a new Kings logo?
Oh, they went with the Royal Lion. I like that.
The lion's cool. Everything else is kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sacktown.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even hardly see if it's actually decent though.
Right.
It's like,
It's
nah.
funny because, like Marco said, they just kept turning the lights down. So they're like, okay, that looks good.
There we go. We can see blue and red. That's what we do.
This logo over here. That's what people will like.
We're gonna unveil it in the season.
I sort of like this one. They brought back the old
Kinda.
the ombre, the Fiesta look.
You know what's terrible?
What?
The mix of the vertical and horizontal stripes.
Right.
Right here.
I'm not feeling this one.
Yeah, that's so bad.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, they always had these colors, but they never implemented it into the jersey. So
That's like the beginning of the Spurs dynasty right there.
what
Right.
dynasty? Lonnie Walker.
It reminds me of the old NBC logo for some reason.
Yeah.
It is definitely
The peacock.
Yeah.
He's my man with the ACL. The Raptors, they didn't really do shit. They just
Yeah.
Those suck.
right. And that's it.
That's
That is it. So who wins the jersey war for this day? Who was the best one in this batch?
Who'd we say?
I sort of like Chicago.
The Chicago's was nice, and there was that one. The Buzz City is mine.
The Hornets. Yeah, the Hornets win.
So, and let me stop sharing. That commences the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint.
You're gonna have to do it again because you said commences, meaning we're starting. It concludes.
That concludes. My bad.
Do it again. I'll edit you out.
That concludes the layup, aka the finger roll, aka jelly time, aka points in the paint. I forgot it this time.
And he almost slipped up.
Being a great guest and dropping his basketball wisdom, which is immense. And
Happy to be here.
Cool, man.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yeah, appreciate
fellas.
you
I
coming out.
appreciate you.
So we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back with some Blitz.
Some grits blitz.
The Grits Blitz.
What's up, guys? Welcome back from the break. Let's go ahead and get into a really, really fast grit split. It's not really fast, but, let's not spend too much time on this because, one, we don't have a game to cover of our own. And probably the biggest versus of all time is about to start here in a second. And that's Gucci
How does that start?
in 3 minutes.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, so we're not going to get done with this in 3 minutes, but
You can always watch it back.
yeah, I'll play it back. All right, so in the football world, tonight we've got actually a really good Thursday night football game going on as well with the Seattle Seahawks playing the Cardinals. And Micah, you mentioned earlier, why don't you bring it up again, what you were saying about since the last time they played?
So the last time they played, we had a conversation, and I made a statement that Kyler is quickly up and coming and it's becoming one of the better quarterbacks in the league. And I actually alluded to him and Russ potentially being two of the top quarterbacks in the league this season. Now, since then, Russ has spiraled definitely out of control and is tied with Daniel Jones for the second most turnovers in the league. And Kyler has continued to win and win in big fashion. And I mean, Hail Murray.
Hail
Murray to old D-Hop, the guy that cost Bill O'Brien his job, and
Bill O'Brien cost Bill O'Brien his job.
I mean, essentially the trade was the one thing. That was the one piece that was like, all right, we're still pretty good because of him. And D-Hop's gone, and it's just like, all right, this is not that good of a team anymore. So, yeah.
Real quick, I heard something today on the radio. It was actually Andy and Randy were talking about it, and Randy brought up the fact that the interim GM for the Texans right now is the chaplain, the old chaplain for the Patriots.
Really?
And when Belichick was asked about him a long time ago, there's like, yeah, he's not a personnel guy. He's just, he's this. So
but he hadn't done anything. He hadn't done anything to hurt the team, at least. So I
can't hurt a terrible team.
Yeah.
But Bill O'Brien, when Brett was on here, he alluded to Bill O'Brien having contract disputes with guys, it getting a little personal. And he's trading these really talented players away because of some small contract or contract disputes versus, where they are now, where the GM is just kind of like, I'm just going to not do anything to mess us up even more. Or, I'm not going to make some kind of big move that winds up potentially hurting us in the long run. Bill O'Brien made those moves all the time. And this guy's just like, I'm just not going to get in our way. And next year, somebody else will take this job and I'll go back to being a chaplain.
Yeah. Well, no, he's since moved up the ranks and he's no longer a chaplain. He's surpassed that pay grade in the NFL. But
how do you start as a chaplain and move up the ranks?
I know that's what I heard. I was like, that's because chaplain's a very specific job title. You don't just accidentally become a chaplain. You went to school for it, you study for it, you go to seminary for it. Not cemetery. What's it?
Seminary.
You do sometimes go to cemeteries. But yeah, that made me laugh. And it's like that. What a shit show of an organization right now. But they still got Deshaun Watson.
Well, and they're talking about is Romeo Crennel has not done much as a head coach, and they're potentially talking about he could be the front runner still to retain the job after this season. So I'm like, bro, the
reason they said was because it's going to be too hard to interview candidates. That's literally the reason they gave why he's the front runner.
Okay. Ever heard of a thing called Zoom?
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even sold on Romeo Crennel as a defensive coordinator, let alone as the head coach. So, but whatever, man.
They're like, we can't afford a Zoom premium right now, so we're just going to stick with Romeo Crennel. All right. Let's run down pretty quickly, recap some of these last games because most of the people listening this week have already seen the games that happened last week, and there's no real point to go too in depth about them. So you had your Thursday night football game was Indianapolis beating Tennessee 34-17. Surprisingly, I actually thought Tennessee was going to go in there and really run them over, but Indianapolis is proving time and time again they're a really good football team.
It was a real back and forth affair because at first it looked like Tennessee was just going to run it down their throats, but then old man Rivers had some other things to say about
Dadgummit!
Dadgummit, let's get going, guys.
Flag it, dadgummit.
Flag
it.
Tennessee's special teams are hurting right now. So
yeah,
they can't even they struggle. They're happy when they get punts off, even when they're 22-yard punts. It's like, yeah, we got a punt off. Yes.
COVID would catch up to them.
Oh man.
Then let's see. The Chaplain-led Houston Texans lost to Cleveland 10-7 in an ugly game.
It was 10-7. You said, wow.
Yeah, it was bad weather too. I mean, Cleveland these past couple of weeks. Cleveland and Green Bay have been just cursed with terrible conditions these last couple of weeks.
Cleveland only has two things going for it. It's running game and then Myles Garrett.
Yeah, and they got those two young corners too.
Myles Garrett is a beast.
Then the clutch Detroit Lions come back again, and Matt Prater hits a 59-yard game-winning field goal to beat the Washington Football Club, who are saying that name is now becoming the odds-on favorite to remain their name.
I like it.
So generic.
I know. So Detroit wins 30-27.
Big sack Matt, man. That dude is clutch.
I'm going to run through these, and if y'all have anything y'all want to say on any of the next couple ones, let's highlight our division games, but run through the rest. Green Bay beats Jacksonville 24-20. Philadelphia loses to the Giants 27-17. Tampa trounces Carolina 46-23. Tom Brady bounced back from his awful game against the Saints, and the Tampa Bay running game just ran all over the Panthers. I think they ran for like 300 yards on them.
Rushing.
Matt Rule shot himself in the foot though. His aggressiveness killed him in that game. That fake punt when you were still in the game, it's like 4th and 6, and you ran a fake punt and tried to get the punter to run it. Really, dude?
Yeah, I mean they did that against us. He's going to learn that NFL coaches scout looks way more than
college shenanigans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then let's see where we at. Denver gets walloped by Las Vegas 37-12. The Chargers lose to the much improved and still improving Miami Dolphins. Tua looks like the right move. Like yeah. As much as we were like, oh, that sucks for Fitz, now we see why. Now we really see why they did it. Now again, Arizona being involved in one of the best games of the week. Arizona beats Buffalo 32-30 on what Micah was referencing earlier on the Hail Murray. D-Hop is just a beast, man. Just a beast. An absolute beast with enormous hands.
Go up and get it.
He wears 3X gloves.
But, I mean, it's slept on, though, like, how Murray is like, there's like 3 quarterbacks in the league who can even make that throw. It's
like he was so quick because, I mean, any other quarterback is dead to rights on that boot out to the left. And he just kind of fake, a little shimmy back to the inside. And the defender's like, oh, no. And then he gave him time to make that throw.
But he made it on the run.
Right. Imagine Matt throwing that.
Well, I mean, he's only got 5'6" worth of frame carrying him to the sideline. So all he had to do was cock his shoulders back, and that offset most of his weight.
Yeah, but that's still a tough throw to make on the run that's far.
No, it was ridiculous.
And to get it over defenders, because that's another thing. They were batting his passes down all day. To throw that over defenders on the run and legitimately drop it in the middle of a traffic perfectly.
Yeah, that's Kyler's only weakness. Like, I don't know if he'll ever be able to throw over the middle.
Yeah. I mean, when you're that fast, though, gets you to the outside real quick. Yeah. Seattle continues its downward spiral as they lose to the Rams 23-16. New Orleans beats up on a just decimated San Francisco 49ers 27-13, which is now the home to Tack, by the way. Tack is now a 49er. A lot of people are saying he purposely failed his physical with the Bengals because he didn't want to play there. And he knew the 49ers were next in line because they put a bid on him, but they weren't there on the waiver wire order.
He gets to go home.
Yeah, he's from the Bay Area, so.
Tack would do that.
I saw if you go to the Instagram post by the 49ers of welcoming him there, they're like, all right, reinforcing that IR depth. Let's go. At least they know.
Right.
Pittsburgh just thumps the Bengals. Ben Roethlisberger threw all over the Bengals. I mean, that's just a good team versus a bad team right there. Baltimore lost to New England.
Yucky.
Baltimore's
beat off of. Belichick turned on the monsoon on that last drive.
Yeah, that was an ugly. People are like, it seems like New England was controlling the weather. But yeah, nothing's out of question.
Lamar was pretty bad during that. I'll be honest.
Baltimore is just not a good offensive team this year. They figured him out. And I don't know if I shared that with you, but a local writer, I think, it was ESPN. It was who's that quarterback they got up there? Or is it Orlovsky? It's doing it.
Dan Orlovsky.
Orlovsky was highlighting because when Lamar had said, hey, they know our plays, like they're calling them out at the line. He was like, let me go check this out, and he ran tape on it. And like situationally, Roman is calling the exact same plays over and over and over again in the exact same situations. So defenders are just like, I mean, you're going to do this again? All right.
Yeah. Sitting on the routes.
Yeah. I mean, they're sitting on routes. They're sitting on run formations. There's no variation to it. And you do that against Belichick?
Yeah, it's great.
Good. Okay.
Like the two, going into that game, I figured the two worst passing teams in the league, it would be sort of an even match. Yeah, it ended up being
that. And then Kirk Cousins got his first Monday Night Football win. He's now 1-9 on Monday Night Football. You like that?
You like that?
You like that? All right, so that sums up last week, and now we go into the preview for the biggest matchup for us this week, and that's obviously the Saints versus the Falcons, and I believe that is here. Or is it? No. Is it in New Orleans? I failed to look.
We're down there.
Yeah, I think we're
down there first.
Which is good. If that's the case. Yeah, at New Orleans. So we go down to the Superdome or whatever it's called now. And there's going to be like 4,000 fans. So, I mean, losing home field advantage is it doesn't mean that big of a thing to the Falcons because we just don't have that big of a home field advantage. It means a lot to teams like Minnesota, Kansas City, New Orleans, New England, Seattle. There's another one. So those are the type of teams that like really, Denver has a pretty good home field. Well, that's for a different reason. That's because people can't fucking breathe.
And then Kansas City.
Yeah, I named them. So like typically the reason teams struggle there is because they get on the line of scrimmage and there's 90,000 screaming New Orleans people and they're in, you can't hear anything. But with the way the Falcons are playing and with some of the changes that we've made here recently, this game doesn't scare me nearly as much as it did. And the fact that actually I'll let Micah cover that before I even bring it up. It's just some of the struggles that the Saints have had here recently. We're going into this game with a lot more optimism than I think we had 4 or 5 weeks ago. So let's cover a couple things first on our side of the ball, things we do know from us. And that is some of the players that we will have in the game. Like we're going to be fully at full strength at pretty much every position, except for maybe Ridley may be out.
Fowler has COVID, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Fowler still has not passed his final COVID test. And we don't really know much of anything with Fowler, to be honest, because they're just keeping it hush-hush, which is protocol. That's when anything medical related to something like that, you can't release too much other than the fact that, yes, he is on the COVID list. So I highly doubt we're going to get him back considering how long Marlon Davidson was out and how they're slow playing people coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's already passed some test before. But again, nobody knows. So as we stand, let's say we get Ridley back. I have a good feeling we're going to have him back, and we're probably going to be without Fowler. So going into this matchup, guys, what are some of the position battles that you're looking at? And the ones you're looking at as a strength and as a weakness, Micah.
One if Ridley is back. I'm looking at how they do the their cornerback rotation, because what they started doing us the last 2 years is they started to put Marshawn Lattimore on Ridley, because Ridley he struggled with the physical, that press coverage a lot more than Julio did. And they just relied on their number 2 corner and, bracket coverage to try to take Julio away, which, Julio's good enough of a receiver where he's still going to get his regardless. But that's one matchup right there. Two, typically we do some of our best pass rush efforts come against the Saints. Defense is inspired usually against the New Orleans. So, can our pass rush get to Jameis? Can they put pressure on Jameis? And, for what we struggled with a lot of times when he was in Tampa is when we get to him, can we get him on the ground? Because there were way too many times Jameis would wiggle out of a sack and throw it downfield. Now, I mean, that could work out for the better because, he can be a gunslinger when he's under pressure and make some mistakes. But still, there were plenty of times where he's wiggled out of a sack and made a big play out of it. So that's 2. 3, will we be able to manufacture a run game against them? Because if we can manufacture some kind of run game and keep the pass rush honest, then you can then a lot of the passing stuff is the play action. The passing game is going to be open, and like I said, man on man, I think we can beat them man to man, but it's just how effectively can we run the ball? If they just stuff our run game and take it out the picture, then this could be a long game for us. But or a very low scoring game. But if they can, if we can get a little run game going, we could potentially put up some big numbers against them.
I'm pulling it up right now, but I believe, they're the second best run defense in the NFL right now. I mean, they're loaded up front, and they have those huge bodies. They kind of do something similar to what Seattle does with bigger guys on the line. Cam Jordan is a bigger defensive end, and then they got what's his name? The other defensive end they just drafted.
Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
Marcus, he hasn't really.
But I think they played Trey Hendrickson is the guy they start.
Oh yeah, Trey Hendrickson. He's about
big 270.
line.
So I mean, they use these bigger bodies up front to let their linebackers just roam free, and they got three really good run defending linebackers there. So I agree with you there. Marco, what's a position group of strength for us, or a matchup of strength and a matchup of weakness?
First of all, I heard something today that Alvin Kamara is on the questionable list.
Yes, he is.
So that definitely is good. But so I'll say our biggest strength is probably our receiver core going against their handsy and holdy cornerbacks. So we definitely got to go at them, and we got to wait. How are we sort of structuring this question? You said
just give me a matchup or a position group of strength.
And then I think on defense, we got to lean on the run defense and give Jameis, try to bait Jameis into doing what he likes to do. I know Sean Payton is going to try his hardest to put it into Jameis's head that, this is a short passing offense. We don't take those risks, but I feel like Jameis, once he sees the Falcons, he's going to, start doing his old tendencies, and he's going to start. And if we can sort of bait him into trying to go deep, then our cornerbacks might have some success in getting some turnovers. And I think that, like I said, the run defense will have to be a strength in order for us to have a shot at winning this, in order to force him to throw that ball.
So what's a position group that you're worried about, or a matchup that you're worried about in this game?
The matchup I always worry about is our offensive line. Just because, like you said, they're the number one run defense in the league. And we know how our offense starts looking when we get stuffed continually. We get very uncreative, and we get very, we just try to do the same things over and over again. And Matt overthrows and gets, panicky feet. So I'm a little worried about that. But, I think it'll be, I think all said and done will be pretty even, because it is Jameis back there. You know what I mean? And we can sort of capitalize.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I go back and forth on like Jameis being back there because I think I would have preferred Breeze, dead arm Breeze back there rather than Jameis, a bigger quarterback who's harder to bring down. You know, because of the thing we've been doing to manufacture pressure lately is blitzing our linebackers, and our linebackers are just about the same size, if not a little bit smaller than Jameis. So there's no guarantee if Debo gets there or Foye gets there, Jameis is going down. Right. And another thing that we have done in the past versus the Saints, and one of the reasons that we are one of the teams that Alvin Kamara has always struggled against is because we mirror Alvin with Debo. Debo is the anti-Kamara matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how we approach this, if we continue that or if we continue with the trend that we've been on recently. And I have a feeling we'll probably be somewhere in about a 50-50 split in there. You'll probably see Foye blitz a lot more because you'll probably see Debo shadowing Kamara the whole time. And that it leads me to my strength. And I think our strength is our linebackers in this matchup here. The ability to blitz them and to cover a lot of those weapons that the Saints are throwing a lot of people off with. And that's Taysom and that's Kamara. Their receivers have not really been, what they have been in the past, where Michael Thomas is coming back from injury, but even coming back, the offense is just not tearing people up with 150, 160 yard games. Let me go ahead and knock on wood there for that one. But I think, our linebackers are a definite strength here, and using our linebackers to play off of those big interior D linemen that we have, like Grady or like a Davidson or a Marlon Davison. We're probably going to get him back, by the way, this week is what we're hearing. We're probably going to see him a lot more, and we might use him to fill in for Fowler. So we might see him be a little bit more of an end this game. So, but a position group that worries me, or a matchup that worries me, is our corners versus their passing offense, because they are a very creative passing offense. We're a very young secondary. Ricardo's going to help. Ricardo's definitely going to help with that, and Keanu's going to help. But anytime you put like AJ out there against Michael Thomas, AJ's going to have to prove to me that he can shut down someone like a Michael Thomas or whoever's there. He's played very well this year, but he has yet to shut somebody down, really, or at least a premier matchup. But we are back at full strength at corner. So, we'll be able to throw a lot of people at him. I just really hope we don't put Sheffield on him. I hope Sheffield follows whatever his name is, Smith, number 11, follows him around. Not Smith.
I can never remember his name.
Harrison?
The little dude.
Harris. Yeah, it's Harris, but I can't remember his first name.
What is his name? Deontay Harris. That's his name.
Yeah.
So, and then, there's the X factor of Emmanuel Sanders. So we'll see. I am definitely worried about our passing defense in this game. I'm not so much our run defense, because as good as the Saints have been, we're still a top 6 run defense as it stands. And then lastly, Micah alluded to it earlier. It's our lines versus their lines, because their strength is definitely their D line and their offensive line. They're just big and powerful on both sides of the ball, and they dominate that in all their matchups, which allows their corners and safeties to jump routes, and their linebackers to do the same. So, let's go ahead and get to the next point of this, though. And a lot of you guys mentioned it, and I think a lot of us think it's going to be Jameis, but who would you rather see as the starting quarterback for the Saints? Would you rather see Jameis, or would you rather see Taysom?
Boy, I'd rather see Taysom, man. Like, I'd rather having Daniel Jones or starting Taysom Hill, man. He's like a walking turnover. Like, every time this dude is, a lot of the times this season when they put him in situations, like he's he sort of looked a little choky. So, I mean, I truly don't believe Taysom Hill is going to be the starting quarterback. We'll see him, a lot in the gadget role, but I mean, Sean Payton has proven he's not, he's not a goofy guy, so he's not going to let Taysom Hill come in this game and try to lead this team in as a starting quarterback. They just got to keep him as a utility Swiss Army knife guy, and that's just what he does. Like there's no way.
What about you, Micah? Who would you rather see?
I'd much rather see Taysom.
Yeah.
Taysom, and I've said this for a couple of years now. Taysom Hill, there's a reason. I think there's a reason they don't use him much at actual quarterback and have him drop back, because they know his strength is his toughness and his just sheer athleticism. I think when you move him around the field, you can create mismatches with him, and he's so athletic and so tough that with those mismatches he can make plays at other positions. But if you drop him back at quarterback, you limit the type of plays that he can make and how he can make plays, as far as because he's athletic, but he's not like Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray athletic. So, in the pocket, will he be as dynamic in the pocket as he is, running zone reads or at the slot and so on? I don't think so. So I would much rather see Taysom. I mean, Jameis can potentially be a walk-in turnover, but I think Taysom, there's a reason Taysom, is more of a gadget guy than an actual quarterback. So,
yeah, I think we all agree on this one. I would much rather see Taysom try and be a quarterback rather than Jameis step into an offense and prove that he can be the quarterback of the future for this team. Because I am tired of the Saints being good. I'm tired of the Saints just continuously cycling in good players at every position, no matter what they do. And I think if Jameis really flashes in this game, or these couple of games that he's going to start for Breeze, Teddy Bridgewater was a good, stopgap, but Jameis is still young. Jameis has a lot of things that Teddy doesn't have. That includes a huge arm and just an absolute cannon. And he can make a lot of those deep throws with ease. But the Saints don't really have deep threats this year. They built it to be the strength of Breeze, which is that short to intermediate game now, and just not chunk plays down the field, but like 5 yards here, 7 yards here, 15 yards there to get down the field instead of
clock.
Yeah, exactly. Their run game and short passing.
I mean, Jameis, I feel like people sort of threw him out with the bathwater, because I feel like Jameis had that 30-30 season, which was, obviously unbelievably bad on one side. But before that, he's never done anything that was just that terrible, right? He's always been, he's always had the talent, but it's always just like, okay, mentally, is he going to make the right decisions? But it's never been as egregious as it was last season for people to just throw him out like that.
I mean, he's still a Heisman winning quarterback. He's a national championship winning quarterback. He's still the number one pick. And he fixed the biggest problem he had, which is he couldn't see. And he still threw 30 touchdowns in the National Football League. So, I'm obviously a little bit more of a Jameis supporter than most, because I saw what he did his freshman year before his eyesight got really bad. And that is a true freshman, literally reading defenses, picking them apart, and throwing for 40 some odd touchdowns and 12 interceptions. So,
oh man, well, he doesn't have the same kind of receiver core. So it's a different, I think he's always struggled underneath. He throws a beautiful deep ball, but he's had tendencies to struggle on the underneath stuff and reading coverage. So
he misses linebackers and robber zones all the time. It's just like Matt Ryan. He misses those guys often, and it's infuriating. Like Jameis, he was sitting there the whole time, man. How did you not see that?
Yeah, and he has a tendency to hold on to the ball a little long
because he waits for those deep routes to develop, because that's typically his first read.
All right, up with the blitz. And
so let's go prediction for this one, guys. I'll start us off, and I'm going to go Falcons go and get the dub. We continue our hot streak. We continue to look like a different team, and we win. It's going to be low scoring. It's a division game. 28-24. Whoever wants that next, y'all can take it.
I'll take it. I say we get the dub. I say even lower scoring than that. I say we win 24-17. And I think they might score late. So I mean that's my prediction.
Just to be different, I mean, I always wanted to do homer picks, but just for today, I'm gonna just say that we take the L here, just because it's like a betting trap. I think that like a lot of people are looking at the fact that okay, Kamara might not be there, and then Jameis is coming in, and the Falcons are on this like mini roll. Then we come in and they might shock us 31-23.
If Kamara is out, I think there's no doubt we win. Honestly. I mean, because Latavius Murray just doesn't – I mean, he doesn't do what Kamara does, and Kamara's on a historic pace this year to just break all types of records.
And y'all said he wasn't worth the money.
He's not. No running back ever will be.
That boy is a beast.
He is.
He needs to be in Atlanta. He needs to say, screw you, Saints. I'm taking my talents back home.
I would love that if he could come here for about $7 million a year.
Honestly, it looks funny because it's like they don't run him like how much you'd think they'd run him with the amount they pay him. But to me, it makes sense. They're playing him like he's paid a lot. Like, okay, we need you to be here. Like, we're not going to put McCaffrey your ass into the ground.
Well, but at the same time, I mean, your number one receiver's been hurt all year. Emmanuel Sanders has missed like 3 or 4 games, and for most of this season, him and Taysom Hill have legitimately been their only 2 offensive weapons. Mm-hmm. And dude, night in and night out, has put up huge numbers. So, it makes me regret taking Christian McCaffrey in the league that I had the number 1 pick. Or the league I had the number 2 pick and took Saquon. I regret it now. Sorry. Sorry, man.
My bad.
Everybody did that though.
I mean, he's got 486 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns. He's got 648 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns right now.
Man.
So,
I mean, everybody slept on Kamara and Henry for some reason.
Yeah.
The whole college situation is why he kind of threw him off.
Are you talking about this year, or just in general?
I just mean in the whole fantasy aspect.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, because Kamara was hurt last year.
Yeah, he missed a good bit of the season.
And then typically a running back that gets such high usage like Henry did the year before falls off and gets hurt this year. But right. Henry is a stallion amongst ponies.
Exactly. That's like what I say about Saquon and Christian. I'm like, those two are probably going to get hurt this season because they were just used so much last season.
Right. All right. So we got our predictions. Oh, also in news of former first-round picks by the Falcons going elsewhere, Vic Beasley signed with the Raiders.
I like this guy. He's real fire.
This is a tough guy right here. Vic Beasley is one of my kind of guys.
I don't think he's got a fair shot. I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna bring him in here. We're gonna coach him up.
Vic Beasley and Nathan Peterman are my 2 favorite guys I ever seen come out of the draft.
Hey man, the Raiders are 6-3, man.
And if there's a coach that can get the most out of Vic, it's Gruden would be one of them.
Yes, sir.
Or like Belichick.
It's funny though that his church going self is gonna be in Las Vegas. That's funny.
Yeah.
Sin City.
On the Raiders.
On the Raiders.
A team about playing nasty and tough and rough and just.
Oh my God.
Here comes Vic Beasley. Hey guys. I don't really like football that much.
Everybody, let's pray.
Let's pray. I'll lead us.
Also, Pro Bowl voting started. So you can actually get out there and vote for your favorite Falcons. Every year you see people like like, I'm going to vote for Matt Ryan. It's like, actually Matt Ryan is not that bad because he could be like a fringe. He'll probably finish like 5th or 6th in quarterbacks in the East this year. But 2 Falcons that I can think of, actually 3 are definitely deserving of your vote this year. Grady Jarrett, Foye, who is just playing out of his mind. And I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit here. And I called it. The man's a beast. And then actually a guy who a lot of people don't realize who's having as great of a season as he is, that's Younghoe Koo. He is making 95% of his kicks right now, and he's on pace to keep that up, and he's just absolutely killing it. So those 3 guys definitely are deserving of your vote. Go out and do it. He has to continue this last little bit here in order to get
just because the sacks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Debo.
If he can continue to do what he's been doing over the remainder of the season, he will definitely be a Pro Bowler.
Mm-hmm. Just on Younghoe Koo, I think he's leading the league right now in made field goals and points, which is sort of not a thing you want to have.
Well,
but congrats.
Here's the funny thing about Ryan's list. It did not include a single offensive player, considering that is our stronger unit. But
I mean, who's deserving though? Ridley, he's been out.
No. Yeah. Well, I mean, because Julio and Ridley are both missed games because of injury.
I'll give you one. Chris Lindstrom.
Lindstrom, yeah.
Lindstrom definitely deserves
maybe
to go to
McGarry has been solid too.
Todd Gurley's put up very solid statistics for touchdown wise.
Gurley is touchdown vulture. He's Mike Allstott essentially.
Right.
It's just inside the 10, handed to Gurley.
I'm leading the league in touchdowns, but I'm like 16th in rushing yards.
Yeah.
Before we move on, and since we're on the topic of performance, so remember when we got just destroyed for picking AJ Terrell at 16th? Mm-hmm. They were like, "Oh, he's definitely not deserving that pick. There's all these corners out there that are better than him, and that's a reach there." Well, thus far, AJ Terrell has graded out as the best rookie corner in the entire class. And I just really
Tom's like, stick it to.
Yeah, literally. Like, I don't get why all these Falcons fans every week are like, "Oh, he looked terrible in coverage." It's like, are y'all watching the same guy?
Well, I'll tell you what it is, because a lot of them go back to the exact same game, and it's exactly what Brett talked about.
One play.
They go, well, no, it was a couple plays, but it was like Brett said, they were perfect throws to an elite receiver made by an elite quarterback, and they were perfect throws. So it's like, that the combination, I don't care who you are, if you're Deion Sanders in his prime if you're Deion Sanders in your prime, you're facing Jerry Rice and Joe Montana at quarterback. You can't do anything when the throw is perfect. So, I mean, it is what it is, but people harp on it. They see those couple plays, and that's all that they see. And it's like, no, you got to watch the whole entire body of work.
Cornerback and offensive line are those 2 positions that you're only going to notice when they do bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If we do have any detractors of AJ Terrell that are in our listening audience, I challenge you to watch him throughout a game, and especially in the run defense. For those of you that remember Trufant and Alford trying to come up and make tackles, it was atrocious. But AJ is a willing tackler, and he hits hard. He hits like a safety, and he's a great form tackler as well. So watch him in zone coverage, especially. He's very, very heady, very explosive in that, and his man coverage, his press man is very good as well. Anything y'all got else? Anything to say about the Falcons?
Nope.
Cool. Well, I mean, I'm glad your computer's making it through, even though it's struggling all the way through there, Marco.
What do you mean?
Wah.
Are you sure that's mine? It's not even making a sound right now.
I hear something, unless I'm just hearing the Matrix in my headphones.
Do you hear it?
You don't hear anything? Right there.
No.
I just heard it. All right. Anyway,
That was a car outside.
unless you live in Talladega, because it's constant. Rex. Y'all got any Rex? Anything?
It's a versus battle, I guess.
Yeah.
Watch that. Yeah.
Watch the versus battle that's going on right now.
Hope Young Jeezy doesn't, or they don't fight, or shots aren't fired.
Yeah.
Try the
shout out.
Try the Lou Williams lemon pepper wings from Magic City. Since the versus battle being brought to you by Magic City.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's at Magic City.
Are there strippers in the background?
No. You know they can't do that on Instagram.
They have a freaking twerk circuit.
Yeah, but there was no, they couldn't do nudity, so you know that's the.
I mean, they don't have to.
I'll give you one because Nicole's been talking about this place forever, and I finally got to go with her today. It's called Wing Ranch in Brookhaven.
Mm-hmm.
That place is delicious. A small little place right on the corner there of Johnson Ferry and
Ashford Dunwoody.
Yeah, it's right at the intersection of Ashford Dunwoody, Johnson Ferry, and there's one other road. It's like Peachtree something.
It used to be the spot.
Yeah, I mean it's delicious. Like that guy, and he's super cool, super chill, really good wings.
Yeah. That used to be my high school spot.
I believe it. It's right down the road from Marist.
Bruh. I won several bets eating the hottest wings they had there.
Really?
Like, can you eat it without drinking? Yeah.
I mean, from what I saw on the menu, nothing looked super hot.
They had like an Insane or Nuclear or something like that back in the day. So
if it was back in our high school days, that was before a lot of these wing places started getting real crazy with their peppers.
Yeah. So, I got one. Do have another rec. So, our favorite Chef Flu is it's getting Thanksgiving time, so he's opening up the orders for the smoked salmon mac and cheese and stuff. So anyone who hasn't tried it, I highly recommend getting you one, whether it's a personal pan for $28, which is you can 2 or 3, 4 people can eat off a personal pan. A half pan, which is $55, and then the full pan, which can feed a couple families, is $110. So Loving the Flu on Instagram. Check them out, and then click the link in the bio. Also, go to our YouTube right now. Smash that like and subscribe button, and follow us, and click the notification bell.
So when you order from Flu, do you go pick it up, or how does that work?
Yeah, he typically he'll do either meet points, or you can meet him at his apartment complex, and he'll and so like he like, especially around this time of year, he typically does meet points because he can get multiple people. He can go to some isolated place and then get multiple people their orders at one time. So
cool.
Shout outs. I'm going to give a shout out to someone who we don't know, but he's just absolutely hilarious to watch in the way he humiliates people without them even knowing. That's Jordan Klepper, the one of the field reporters for The Daily Show. Often goes to these Trump rallies, and really, they don't know they're being made fun of, and they don't know that he's making them look dumb, but everyone else does. And yeah, y'all got any shout outs before we get to a lightning round question?
Not that I can.
Cool. Mike has been providing us with the lightning round questions here lately. I don't have one. Do y'all?
I got one. I got a pretty decent one this time. So, if you could trade lives with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
I would trade lives with Jeff Bezos, and I would immediately Zell myself a cool Billy, maybe 3 billion, because he wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, Amazon just made that in a day. That's why I would do it, for selfish reasons.
I guess
Marco.
I would say Paul McCartney, but I don't really want to be old. So I guess I'll go like Leonardo DiCaprio, just to like, hang out with all the models for a day. And then also you could Zell yourself from his account too. So
we're just going to start zelling ourselves all the money from rich people.
All right. So I'm going to go a completely different direction as y'all. I'm going to switch places with Russell Wilson. And
Bang Sierra?
Partially, yeah. And I can also transfer myself. So cool. Let me give him about $3 million. He won't miss it. Yeah, that. See what it's like to be like one of the nicest guys in the NFL.
Right. And just open it. Yeah, I wonder like what does he text people? It's like just like positive stuff all day and then
motivational. You got this. Keep going.
And then Sierra sends him like twerk videos. But it would be amazing though. Just open up your Bank of America app or whatever bank app and just see like 8 figures in there. You're like, oh shit,
bruh. I also would love to be able to see how it is to like scramble around and just fling a ball 50, 60 yards downfield on the run with ease. That I had a good arm with the football, but yeah, I never had the ability to do that. So
if I'm giving a more serious answer, I would probably say, and I don't know who this person is, and I don't think it's the president, but whoever has the highest grade clearance in the United States and the access to the most systems, because I know not all one person's going to be able to view across the board. So probably someone pretty high up in like the CIA or the FBI. I don't know. I wouldn't imagine it's anybody in the Pentagon or the military side, but whoever can view the most of the stuff, or just someone who works at Area 51.
What are you trying to see now?
Everything, Marco.
I know everything. I know literally the truth about everything.
Plug my finger into the USB slot. I know everything.
Have you watched that Snowden movie on Netflix?
No.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
I'd imagine it would. It would be good, but for some reason, watching that would be depressing.
Why?
Just because it's like, wow, he knew all this stuff, and like our country was like, get out.
Well, he had to go.
Well, I know.
He's back with his wife now. She went over there and she's with him, so he's not lonely.
I can't think. Oh, because I mean, I lived through the whole Chelsea Manning thing. He came from my unit at Fort Drum.
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like, oh, this sucks, man. Sorry, you weren't supposed to do that, but you did it for the right reasons. But you weren't supposed to do that, so it's like,
right.
Well, that's kind of that's a hard thing. It's like doing what's right.
Right.
Doing something against the rules, but for all the right reasons. That's kind of a tough decision to make.
Right, because they trusted him. I mean, they don't put you in that position unless they really trust you.
I mean, a lot of those S2 guys have access to all that information and can do it, but Anyway, let's get off that dark topic.
I got a different answer though. Wasn't that Alexis?
With Serena?
Ohanian?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that dude is even richer than Russell Wilson. Yeah, I'll take his spot.
And you get to bang Serena?
Oh, yeah, that's a plus. That's always a plus. But he has more money, so I could help myself out in the real world. But also, like, I just heard something like she taught him about washcloths. Like, bro, you didn't know about washcloths before? Nah.
Well, I wonder what he used.
Money, $100 bills.
Probably bar soap because, that's how some of them are. They just.
What is Alexis Ohanian's only worth $70 million.
So that's comparable.
Russell Wilson's worth more. I'll take Russell Wilson in.
Russ is
Russ is worth $135 million.
Damn.
Doubled up.
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
son. I mean, I don't know. Who would you rather? Who would you rather?
Potentially.
Sierra or Serena? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Sierra just because I know she's a dancer.
I might even be Shaq just because see what it's like to be legitimately towering over everybody everywhere you go.
All right.
And to talk like this.
No, look down on everybody.
I told Kobe. I told Phil. Give me the ball and I'm gonna dunk it.
Stop calling.
Cool. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 27. What's that little, I think he's Filipino or Taiwanese guy. He's like 21, 22.
The one that was on all the counting. I want to count in my vote.
Singing and counting. He needed to be on Sesame Street. Just go ahead and put him on Sesame Street.
It's just so crazy. Some of the things people get famous for. Anyway, cool. That wraps up episode 27. We are Fish and Grits, the podcast. I am Ryan Dollar. These are my cohorts.
Marco, and we will not be joining the 27 club.
And I am Micah.
And we shall talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Look at my background.
Bye.